Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how you doing?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet for wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. Happy to have you aboard here on the show. It's a show that talks about barbecue and grilling stuff, but you know that. First show of 2020, and we are going along flawlessly and at breakneck speed. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck because it's fully integrated with both. You can buy it at fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. In fact, my brother-in-law, John Clota, got a Fireboard for Christmas. Hey, now! Good job, John. Anybody else get a Fireboard for Christmas? Too bad if you did. Somebody doesn't like you that much. Still to come on this show in a couple minutes is Sam the Cooking Guy. You can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on the Instagram and the Twitter, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook, where you can also find a video feed. If you missed it last week, and as you heard 2 weeks ago on the last live show of 2019, the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, the format has been revamped to meet the actual title, the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less. Now, this Friday, episode 106, taking you back to January 26th of 2016, so relatively recent. Dave Bosca of Butcher Barbecue and sponsor of this show, at that point had some new rubs coming to the market, and we talked about a lot of science and rub making and what all goes into it. So that was a really fun conversation with Dave, who, by the way, does have a great podcast that's out now as well, the Butcher Barbecue Podcast. But let me please recommend this. If you missed episode 105, which is the very first best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, in the real 10 minutes or less time, if you missed it, you got to do me a solid. You got to run right over. In fact, tune out of this show right now. Tune out. Go to my website, or if you have it in your podcast feed somewhere, and listen to episode 105. On that show is Ronnie Lotz. If you don't know Ronnie Lotz, you've heard his name around here on this show as we talk about things of all-time scale and proportion on this show in terms of greatness, unbelievability, ridiculousness, and the like. Ronnie Lotz is always front and center. And if you think it's a bunch of hooey, go listen to episode 105 and hear everything fall into the truth that we have told you about as it relates to Ronnie Lotz. You have to go back and listen to it. In fact, I listened to it on the way to work Friday last week. And finally, after these many years, I heard Ronnie Lotz legitimately call me Gene and not G, and he was doing it on purpose. He called me Gene a number of times. Now, you might wonder, how come Ronnie Lotz hasn't been on the show if he's such a great guest? I'll tell you why. He calls me Gene. You don't get on my show when you call me the wrong name on purpose. It's a level disrespect right there, my friend. You can't call me Gene and think that you're just going to be on the show again. You can't do that. That being said, it's one of the greatest 10 minutes in tax that you're going to hear. He's very angry about being in the restaurant business. He's very angry about being snookered out of money and his labor help holing up somewhere in Mexico on the beach, soaking in the sun. You gotta go check it out. So good. All right. That's my promo. Can we please talk about the BBQ Guru? They created automatic temperature control technology. We know this. They have great cookers for sale, like the shotgun cooker. They also have the Monolith, which is the world's first temperature ceramic cooker that has a built-in power draft fan already in it. So if you have a Guru controller, you can just hook right up to it and away you go. Great technology, great accessories. The longest running sponsor of the show, Bob Trudnak and the gang. Super great to work with. Full of information. If you have any questions about what to do, what to buy, where to stick it, 800-288-GURU. 800-288-GURU is the number. And the website is bbqguru.com. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. They'll get you up and running right out of the box. Plenty of different stuff to choose from. Really great. Got to have Bob back on soon. We are back with Sam the Cooking Guy. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. Who's ready for the second Smithfield National Championship? Well, we'll have to find out when that's going to be taking place. If you want to jump on the Committed Cooks program, do that at smokingwithsmithfield.com. Get all the details, pony up $25 and get a couple $100 of swag back in a box. Great stuff. Smithfield back on board for 2020. As I had mentioned at the top of the show, it is the first Tuesday of the month, and that brings a bevy of regular guests. This one just might be my favorite guy ever as we race to the hotline. And welcome back, friend of show, Sam the Cooking Guy. Hey, Sam.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
As the kids say, what it do?
What? I don't know what it do.
Oh, all right.
I don't think I ever knew what it do.
You never knew what it do?
No.
Come on.
Never.
Come on. I knew you knew what to do. Oh my God.
What's going on?
Oh, we're easing into 2020. We're a week into it. Happy New Year to you as well. Well, I mean, I was talking with Malcolm Reed a little earlier. But I mean, geez, could I have two bigger YouTube sensations on the same Tuesday? I mean, unbelievable. He's approaching 1 million. I think you're on your way to 10 million at this point. I mean, you're growing like crazy.
We passed the 1.3 mark.
I have that right there on my stat. Current YouTube subs 1.3 million. So that's absolutely fabulous. I mean, just in a handful of months, you've jumped up like 300,000, right?
Yeah, August.
Unbelievable.
August. So what is that, August?
Do you think you get to a certain number of subscribers and then you hit this magical benchmark and organically you just start clipping along and you could sit there and burn marshmallows every week and you would still gain subs, or what do you think?
No, I don't know. I don't. I felt like 900,000 to 1 million went like that.
Yeah.
Very fast. And I don't know if that was, you know, on some level, I think people were rooting for us to hit that number. The day that it went to 1 million, I don't know if you saw my Instagram, but we were celebrating my and Max's birthday, my oldest, who shoots all and edits all our YouTube stuff for people that don't know. And we were going to a restaurant. The reservation was at 7:00, and there was 3 groups of us coming from different locations. Kelly and I were in the back of an Uber because we knew there'd be alcohol and didn't want to drive.
That's very responsible, by the way.
Thank you. And as we were getting close to the restaurant, we were up at 999,000, like 700. And we had about not very far to go. And it started clicking faster and faster. and we wanted to be together. My son Jordan, my son Zach, and Jordan's wife had just gotten to the restaurant. We were standing outside. Max and his wife were about to get there, and Kelly and I were about to get there, and the Uber driver was going very slow. And I didn't want it to turn over to $1 million while we were in the car. And I kept saying, please, can you hurry? There's something really important that we need to be there as a family for. I didn't want to make it sound so stupid as we want to be together when we hit $1 million. So I didn't say that, thinking he looked like a bit of a hippie. He might be like, oh, no, man, I'm going to go extra slow so you can't. But we got out of the car, and within 10 seconds, it went to $1 million, and we were all there. But it was funny because right at the very end, it would go up 2 or 3 and then down 2 or 3. And I think people were unsubscribing so that they thought they could be the $1 million.
Do you think people are that self-absorbed and involved?
I think people I don't know that it's self-absorbed,
No.
Mr. Rep.
Why? Because they can say, oh, I was the guy that put Sam at the 1 million mark. It was all me.
Who are they saying that to? And would they ever really know? They'd never really know.
Sam, you realize that my daughter has a friend that lives 5 blocks from me, and her brother is your biggest fan from Cleveland. Like, I mean, that's how that could be, because I could be talking to that douche, and he could be like, hey, Mr. Rippy, I'm the guy that gave Sam the Cooking Guy his 1,000,000th sub. I mean, he would be talking about it for the rest of his life.
Right. I'll tell you something. The craziest thing about YouTube is how it has made the world this big go to like this. People that I haven't seen or heard from a long time will reach out, a text or email or something, and say, we had our refrigerator fixed yesterday morning. And while the guy was there doing it, I was doing some work. And we started talking food and blah, blah, blah. And he saw something in the fridge and he goes, hey, do you watch Sam the Cooking Guy? It's crazy. It's crazy. So people that I will run into in the supermarket that go, I don't see you on TV anymore. And I go, well, it's just on YouTube now. And they look at me and go, oh, I'm sorry. They shouldn't be sorry. I'm not sorry. They don't get it.
I often ask myself this question when I think of you, because it is kind of a weird journey for you. So, for the folks that don't know the story, you're Canadian, and we're not going to apologize for that. And you get to the States, and you work in something completely not food. You hate your life, and you decide to change it. You get into food.
I hate my work life.
Yeah, of course. I mean, come on. What are you talking about?
You said I hate my life.
Yeah, but dude, have you seen your wife? There's no way you hate your life. Give me a break. So you decide to get into the food thing, and then you start building the empire from the ground up. And one of the things that I always like to have a discussion about with people that have seen, some level of success. So, just to kind of gloss over all the cool stuff. I mean, you have the huge YouTube following now. You've been on, local, regional, and national television for any number of years. You have, I think at last count, 13 or 47 Emmys to your credit. So there's a number of 15, a number of books. I mean, the list goes on. Restaurants and all this stuff. So if you become a fan of Sam the Cooking Guy today,
go ahead,
or a month ago, or a year ago,
go ahead.
Here's a mindset. Fucking guy's lucky. Just got lucky. But they don't see the 30 years that we're going into where Sam the Cooking Guy came from. So it's not lucky. And I think unfairly, hold on!
Jeez.
I think it's unfairly cast on a lot of different people across many different genres, whether it's YouTube or television or record. Yeah. It's luck, and that's all it is. And I think that's bullshit, and that should always be pointed out, that the struggle happened before all the private jets and great money and $976,000 that you make a year in your bank account.
Okay, so there are no private jets.
I'm talking, hypothetically.
You're talking, but somebody will hear that and they go, "That freaking guy's got a private jet just from stupid cooking on TV on YouTube."
Yes.
Here's the question that I get, because this statistic it was better a week ago in 2019, when I could say in May of 2018 2018, we had 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. And then wherever we were in 2019, we basically gained a million and a quarter.
Wow.
And people will say, how did that happen? And I go, look, I attribute it to a couple of things. I go, Max's work got really good. His earlier stuff was okay, and he would admit that. His work now, the show looks as good as any TV I've ever done. Yeah, I had a series on Discovery's Health Channel and all kinds of stuff. As good as that, I go, there's this thing that I believe in that it's like you roll a ball down a hill. As it starts to go, it picks up speed.
Yeah.
And yes, I believe it picked up speed as we went. But I also think that the 17 years of being in the cooking world are finally starting to come out.
Yeah.
And there's a significant component of, I don't know if it's luck, Greg, but it's just more eyeballs, and then you tell two friends, and so on and so on. There used to be a shampoo commercial years ago that had that as its tagline. You tell two friends, and shit just happens. More people. But it's the funny thing. You hear a band and you go, well, they just came out of nowhere. And they didn't come out of nowhere. They've been in shitty clubs making, $100 a night for 6 people for 10 years.
Yeah.
And if the luck is that one night a music producer happened to be walking past as their notes were coming out of the club doors, is that luck? Or is it them beating the bushes and always playing as many gigs as they can so they could get heard and noticed? And a lot of it is just because they like it.
How much longer can you keep up the YouTube stuff?
Few years for sure, I think.
2 years?
I said a few.
A few. Okay. Was that so do you have some kind of a working outline exit strategy or something that you would go into next? Would it be managing more restaurants or opening more restaurants, or how do you do that?
What I've said this for a long time. What I like most about what I get to do is that it's so varied. Mm-hmm. We have the little not tacos. In February, we'll open Little Gray's. Not called Little Gray's, but it's called Gray's, but it's small. I just completed my 4th cookbook, the photography, a week and a half ago. That'll come out in the fall. I get requests for doing things from companies on a corporate level. It's just fun. I'm 60. I have no intention at any time soon exit strategizing my way stage left. Because I don't know what I would do. I know what I would do. I would drive my wife absolutely insane.
Or you would just do what you're doing now. I mean, this seems to be like what you do now could be something that somebody does after they retire from a corporate job. It was a passion. They like doing it. Yeah. Maybe they did a little bit on the weekends, and now all of a sudden they have all this time because they're not working anymore. And they turn that small passion on the weekends into their hobby, and now they're out shooting 3 days a week or doing something similar of an outline that you do.
Yeah.
Why not keep doing it? I want to see Sam the cooking guy at 85. What are we going to use with Metamucil this week, Sam?
Jesus,
Sam Max is wrapping you over the head with a cane. You're taking your wheelchair wheel off and chucking it at him.
It's so crazy because I look at our audience. 75% of my audience is between 18 and 45.
Yeah.
They call me Dad. Sounds like a name of a movie, doesn't it?
Yeah. They call me Dad.
I'd like him to be my dad. Could that guy be my dad? They'll comment, Dad, what do I do with this? And I don't feel that. I don't certainly feel old, but I do recognize I look older, and I'm at that age when I certainly am a dad and could be a dad to most of my audience. Mm-hmm. I'm fortunate and very happy that they want to continue to watch the nonsense that we put out. And I say nonsense, and I don't want to belittle my stuff. Like, I think the cooking is great.
Yeah.
But I say nonsense not because of the food and how it turns out, but because of the way that I am. My silliness or whatever.
Let's talk about silly cooking.
Yeah.
A couple days ago, you make this thing called the mac and cheese bun. So let's make sure, okay, everybody, New Year's resolution, we're going to stay fat. Let's eat the mac and cheese bun.
Cheese bun was the last one before New Year's.
That's right. This is your last offer, right?
Let me tell you something.
Where does this even happen?
In stupid Max's head.
Max thought, let's make a mac and cheese bun? Is that how he eats mac and cheese as a youth? He put it in a hot dog bun?
Inspired on some level by the smoky pork and mac taco that we have at Not Taco.
All right.
It's very popular. Very popular.
Sure.
And so Max is more attuned to trends, what people are looking for. And that's one of the changes that we made that helped the audience grow. Really, was Max going, I'll say, what do you want to make? And you go, I feel like an old school steakhouse wedge salad with blue cheese dressing. So we'll make it. And 4,000 people would watch it. And now we look at what people are asking for, at what trends, what gets searched, and we make that stuff. The Baconator, the Wendy's Baconator that we just made, it's like 300,000 views in a day. What? And so Max goes, let's make the mac and cheese thing. And I fought it as hard as I could. And then I went, I'm not going to fight anymore.
All right. So it's obviously pretty popular from your evaluation. And I've yet to see you hate a dish that you've made. Talk to me about the mac and cheese bun. How do you make it? And maybe somebody will make it for dinner tomorrow. And it's a Sam the Cooking Guy outline, right? It's few ingredients, not a ton of prep, easy to actually make, and then easy to eat.
It's easy to eat, and it's mac and cheese in a bun. It's ridiculous. It's a green onion. Ugh. Did I put bacon on it?
You did.
I put bacon on it.
Yes, you put it in there, mixed it all in. Lovely.
As if it needed bacon.
Bacon mac and cheese really comes off the tongue better than mac and cheese.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, when you say it, that sounds better. Like, to me, mac and cheese.
I made this big deal about let's eat better, and then I made chicken soup for the first episode of 2020.
It's the cleanse. You and Michael Simon doing a reset.
I know. It just seems like a natural thing to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to do the Asian version of chicken soup, and Max goes, doesn't get searched as much. Just go straight.
Yeah, that is a prototypical comfort food from America.
And by the way, I could go on. I should do this. I should run this experiment. Eat nothing but my own chicken soup. We put noodles in. I put like
egg noodles,
ramen in. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ramen. Yeah.
Like a ramen kind of thing. If I took out the noodles or put less in, and literally just ate that for the next 3 weeks, I 100% would lose weight. 100%. I'd be sick of it by then.
How many times did you eat it during the day? Once?
Would I? No. I would eat it 3 times a day. I would still lose weight. Look, we're working on the menu for Gray's now. And Gray's is a very different restaurant. There's no stove, there's no hood, there's no ovens. What we're using is a larger version of what Starbucks uses to heat a bagel, a croissant, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, those little egg sandwich things they've got.
Super Blaster.
Yeah. It's called a Turbo Chef. It doesn't get nearly enough credit for what it can do at Starbucks. And we tested it up in Los Angeles a couple months ago, and we're very impressed with what it can do. And so, like today, we're making things with meatballs and flatbreads and pizza dough and all that kind of shit, tons of cheese and shit. And so it's not a good time for me to do this. But I'm telling you, if I did that, Kelly remembers a time that I barely do, that I went on what I called a rice diet. Kel, did I eat stuff with the rice? For how long? Kelly says
we're only in the middle of a show. It doesn't matter. Just go ahead.
It's okay. This is how we work. It was, Kelly says it was mostly just white rice.
That's all you ate.
And maybe there's soy sauce on it.
Do you weigh that out?
No, I probably just ate a bowl of it. I had 2 cups or something a few times a day. But I lost weight. Are
you looking to lose weight?
Yeah, I am. I'm not doing anything about it other than saying to my YouTube audience, let's tear it up.
Hold on. Sorry.
Right in the middle of the show?
Well, yeah. I have things to do automatically, so I don't forget. I lost track of the clock. But so you're trying to lose. You're thinking about losing weight.
I'm not comfortable with how I ended 2019. But right this minute, I got to get through figuring out another restaurant, and there's going to be some eating.
When do you get up in the morning?
I get up about 6:30.
All right, and then when are you out of the door?
Depends where the door is taking me to.
All right.
I mean, I do stuff here. I get to work from home a lot. So Max and I don't like to, he doesn't really like to shoot before 11. So we're shooting at 11 or 12, 3 days a week. Today and tomorrow is all restaurant stuff. So I was out the door at, 9 o'clock this morning.
Oh, all right. Here, I'm going to give you a plan to work. Okay. Get up at 5:30 in the morning. Go to bed. Okay. Go to bed an hour earlier.
She's going to hear this. Yeah. And then I'm going to have to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
I'll
whisper it. I'll whisper. Get up at 5:30 in the morning.
And then
run 3 miles. Do a little weight training. It'll take you an hour and 30 minutes total. Take your shower and be ready for the day. Do it 3 days a week. Do it 3 days a week. That's it.
I understand the concept of it.
So do it. I mean, why are you not doing it? Just do it. I did it. You know what took me over the edge? My cat. It wouldn't not wake me up at 4:30 in the morning. And after hearing it from my wife for 10 years about how I have a bad heart, I said, you know what? Cat, F you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to get up at 4:30 in the morning, and I'm just going to start working out. You can do it at 5:30. Come on.
Let me tell you something. As Kelly settles in behind me.
Yeah.
Hold on. She won't want to be on camera. Well, you can see you in the camera.
I better not be on the camera.
Do you not understand the concept of what's going on here? It's a Skype call. So now I don't know. I have to hold my hand here.
Other way. There you go.
I'm not holding my hand here the entire thing.
Oh, yes, you are.
I know what you're wearing, Kel. Fortunately,
hey, look. Let me tell you something. Nobody can see anything past 1 foot behind you. That's it. It's all a blur. It's all a blur. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Fine. Yeah. Look, you know what you've done?
No. Yes, of course I know what I've done. I've given you a recipe for success.
Shut up. She's right there. I know that your audience is mostly men.
Yes.
And any guy sitting there now that is essentially a little lazy and claims to have other things to do is now going to stop watching the second hour of Barbecue Central show and go, well, it was great. And they'll turn around and their wives or significant others will be there going, well, And the guy will go, well, what? I go, why don't you listen to Greg?
Yes.
Get up and run 3 miles. Frank, I'll get up tomorrow morning. I'll run 3 miles. I'll have a heart attack. It'll all be over.
Well,
you feel good about yourself.
I mean, you're not going to run at breakneck speed. You have to build up to it. When I started in January of 2019, I got on the treadmill and I started at 6 miles an hour, and it took 40 minutes to run 3 miles. But now, when I get on, I can start at 7.5 or 8 miles an hour, and I can get done in 22 minutes. But here's the beauty. I'm not telling you to go run 5 and 6 and 8 and 10 miles like these maniacs, because as luck would have it, my sister-in-law is a medical professional, and as I told her, because I was one of those idiots that started trending up in miles, and she said, "Are you training for something?" And I said, "No, I just figured this is what you should do." She said, "Well, let me tell you something. You get zero cardiac benefit running anything more than a 5K, which is 3.1 miles. She said, so unless you're training for something else, you're not doing your heart any better going any further than 3.1. And at that point, I said, good for me. I can do it. I can put in that 22 to 25 minutes, depending on how I feel. Yeah. Get a little weight training in after that, and then I'm ready for the day. And I'm healthy as a horse. Blood pressure's good. My resting heart rate is 48. Can you believe it?
That's almost dead.
I know, but my stroke volume is huge. That's what she said. You know what I'm talking about? Sam, can I put you on hold just for 1 second so I can do a piece of business and we can come back and perhaps we can talk about food?
Of course you can. Go ahead.
Stand by. Sam, the cooking guy, is on the line, if you didn't notice or you're just jumping in. I'm going to talk to you quickly about Big Poppa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. A curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies will get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. They have 13 perfectly balanced rub flavors that transform ordinary meals into extraordinary. You can also check out the West Coast Offense, which is using Big Poppa's and Simply Marvelous barbecue rubs together. They also own Granny's barbecue sauce. If you're looking for a new go-to sauce that will please everybody, Granny's traditionally and powerful flavors remind us why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place, because it tastes good. Now, aside from the rubs and aside from the sauces, they have great cookers that you should buy. Now, if you want a easy-to-use and versatile smoker, the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill is what you want to take a look at. Big Poppa's is the exclusive Mac dealer. They even offer special packages. If you're not a fan of the pellet cookers, check out the Old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Poppa's has on its competition trailer. If you're not sure of what grill you need, give them a call, ask them questions, and then figure it out from there. 877-828-0727. Or shop the website, bigpoppasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. We are back with more Sam the Cooking Guy in 2 seconds. Stick around. Be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, and this portion of the show is being brought to you by, and back at it again, Pit Barrel Cooker. Here we go. Get in some hang time, for crying out loud. It is a sexy drum smoker. You hang meat in it. Up to 8 racks of ribs in the classical version. They also have a Pit Barrel Junior if you want to take a look at that. And the website is pitbarrelcooker.com. And rumor has it, there could be somewhere in the neighborhood of a 50 to 55 gallon version coming out in 2020. We'll get more confirmation from Amber or Noah Glanville a little bit later when we can get them hooked up. Sam, do you have a Pit Barrel cooker?
I don't, but I have a question that I've always had about the Pit Barrel.
Oh, yeah?
I know people love them.
Yeah.
How is it that the stuff hanging, the low-hanging fruit, doesn't cook at a faster rate or burn than the stuff at the top?
Well, here's all I can tell you. You get the barrel lit, ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay? And then you put the pieces of rebar, which is basically where the food hangs.
Yeah, across the top.
Yeah, so then you hang your ribs or your brisket or whatever it is you're cooking. And then you put the top on. Yeah, hang brisket, hang everything. and then you close the top. So however the vent is set at the bottom, that's your intake, obviously. And then the way that the holes at the top that hold that rebar or the hanging rods, if you will, are machined, it's all done with science involved. So
are you saying it creates a convection-like environment?
Absolutely. It's they call it stationary rotisserie. If that, that's obviously a little counterintuitive, but yeah, I mean, and it's super easy to use. It cooks a little bit hotter temperature than your traditional low and slow, but for an ease of use cooker, and especially if you like the charcoal flavor. Now, in my house, charcoal flavor doesn't help the fact that my neighbor Desmond, kidnapped my pit barrel cooker because he loves it, and it is now on his deck, so I get to look at my cooker on his deck from afar.
Him before cooking your backyard. By the way, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is kidnap a term that anybody in the town of Cleveland should be using?
Yeah, why not?
I just watched a documentary or special the other night about the guy.
Yeah, here's the problem. I just finished that special that was on Friday called Trapped. It was like CBS or ABC, whoever did it. It was a national program. And all through that 2-hour program, the only thing I can think about is, God, I hope Sam, the cooking guy, isn't watching this, because I bet he's thinking about me and how Cleveland kidnaps girls and keeps them in basements for 10 years.
I'm looking at the background you've chosen for our episode tonight, and I'm thinking, I realize it's probably not your basement, but it does have a basement look that could have been, How far away was that house from you?
25 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's seedy west side. I'm in, more palatial east side. Yeah, right. So, so let's talk a little bit more about food.
Okay.
One of my favorite dishes that I rarely eat, and I'm not going to say turkey, although that's up there, is beef stroganoff. And you recently did a beef stroganoff recipe. Can you take us through it? Because I think this is a meal people should be eating this coming weekend.
Look, beef stroganoff. So the beef stroganoff that we made was a little different because it was made with steak that was already cooked. Mm-hmm. I did it in the light of what the... How can I put this?
The way I used to have it was with cubed beef.
Cubed beef, which is clearly a less expensive cut. So we elevated it a bit. I cooked a really beautiful ribeye, beautiful medium rare, and then just pushed it off to the side. And then I made what needed to go into this thing, and it was onion and garlic, and it gets cream, and it gets sour cream, and it gets dill, and it gets horseradish, and it gets Worcestershire. What you're really doing is just creating this. Oh, and beautiful egg noodles. You're creating this beautifully flavored environment that steak normally cooks in. But if you take a look at the picture that we posted with it, we were looking at it and we're having this discussion and said, do I cut the steak and then mix it all in? And then if you mix it in, it's going to get that, yellowish sort of pasta-ish kind of color to it, the cream that's cooked. There's parsley and dill or whatever in there. And it's going to look okay. And then we decided the thing to do, let's not do that. Let's keep the ribeye, as gorgeous as it is, just pile up a big shit ton of it in the middle. And then you would take a fork and drag it through the sauce and stab some egg noodles and have a bite. And it is so perfect for this time of year. And I think it is so easy. One of the comments that I get all the time is people go, you make everything look easy. And I go, I'm not making like effing foie gras and things with truffles and stuffing Cornish game hens with who knows what. I go, it's not complicated. You just don't think you can do it because you haven't. People will come up and say, I can't cook. And I go, You know what? I bet it's not that you can't cook. I bet it's that you don't cook.
Right.
You went to make something once, a pineapple upside down cake. You failed at it for whatever reason. Could have been you, could have been the recipe you had was bad. It could be your oven is no good, whatever it is. But it turned out like shit, and you went, oh, clearly I don't have the cooking gene. And I always go, look, nobody could ride a bike in the beginning. Now we can all ride bikes, and that's just because of practice. So go make that pineapple upside down cake a second time, and now you know what? It wasn't cooked enough. So maybe the recipe direction for 45 minutes needed to be an hour. It was way too sweet. Shouldn't have been 21 cups. It should have been maybe 2.5 cups. Stuff like that.
Is it fair to say that, aside from maybe having a bad experience, or maybe, I think some of the, I hate painting with the broad brush, but I think, tell me I'm completely off base here, but folks that you run into that like to cook.
Yeah.
And it's probably a unique dichotomy for your audience too, because I'm sure there's plenty of people that just watch you because they find you entertaining. They think the food that you're making is good. They like when you taste your food at the end, and they have no desire or they're scared to try any of what you just did. But they will also tune again on Wednesday and Friday and consume it as entertainment.
Yes, there is that component. But whenever I meet a single person, a couple, a guy, girl, whatever it is, I say, who cooks? And inevitably, one of two, at least, probably 30% of the time, one of the two, if it's a couple. More often, but the line I get a lot is, you encouraged me to cook in the beginning, and now I cook all the time. And I do think that, look, my thing was supposed to be a travel show and not selling seats to Korea or Japan or the Bahamas. It was to encourage people to try to go someplace different that maybe they didn't go. And when that didn't work out because of 9/11, I said, I'll just try and find something else that I can be encouraging at. And it was cooking. And only because the days following 9/11, when my travel thing went away, I saw a really horrible cooking segment on a local TV show, local morning news show. I said, I should do that. And Kelly, who's behind me basically in a negligee.
We can't see that, by the way. We can't see it.
I know you're saying that. Said to me, sweetheart, I think it's a great idea. But the thing is you can't cook. And I said, well, I'm going to do easy stuff. I want to be encouraging. So as people watch, they go, that looks good, but it also looks easy. Mm-hmm. So I think if I'm successful at anything, I'm successful at the style with which I cook and deliver my episodes. I think people look at me and go, if that dopey fool can make this shit, I'm certainly able to pull it off.
You're operating on the lowest common denominator thought. That's how I operate.
Well, why not? Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Sam the Cooking Guy is joining us here on the show. TheCookingGuy.com is his website. You can also go on to YouTube and search The Cooking Guy and sub if you haven't already done that. What are you seeing, or what are you and Max forecasting for the first quarter for the YouTube channel here?
More of the same. We'll fight. We fought the other day, argued about what it should be, how to do it, what we want, that kind of thing. We don't.
Who wins in fights? Is it typically 50-50, or because you're the talent, so you will rule eventually?
I'm the worst person to argue with. I'm like a dog with a bone in its mouth. I'm never fucking letting go. And I win more arguments with Max or my kids because they go, okay.
I don't want to listen to you anymore.
Kelly? Kelly goes, they just don't want to listen to you anymore. Hey, just sit there in your negligee and don't make me look bad, please.
Get in trouble for that.
Come over here. Come in front of in camera range.
Yeah, it's the internet. Nobody cares.
No, nobody's watching. Come, Greg would like to say hi to you. You like Greg. Everybody likes Greg. You look good, by the way. I have to say that.
Hey, thanks.
I don't have to. I'd like to say that.
I've worked hard on this look,
Well, you want to know what's working for you right now in this particular outfit?
Oh, God.
Not to sound like I'm a designer or anything.
All right.
But the color of the Henley that you're wearing, is like grayish blue.
Yeah, grayish, more heather gray,
and it's picking up the gray in your beard.
Yes.
It's a good look.
Get that. Oh God, this beard used to be all black. Can you believe it?
No, but look at somebody over my shoulder in not much of a negligee. Love the salt and pepper looking in men.
Yeah.
The hair, the beard, that kind of thing.
Let me tell you something. This is way out of anything we should be talking about here, but the one thing I've noticed over my year journey of being so totally fit is that while I am continuing to gray here, the top of my head, of course, my hair continuing to retreat quicker than the French at war, has gotten darker. I don't color it. I don't know. Even my kids have said, "Hey, are you doing something to the top of your head?" And I'm like, "Oh God, I'm trying to hold on to every strand, but other than that, no."
The first Tuesday of the next month, February, I want you to pull up a picture from right when you started your regimen, and I want to see a shot like this. We're gonna diagnose.
All right.
The hair.
We'll see a side by side. I'll have to go back. I'm not a really big picture taker of me per se, but I'll have to go back and see if I can find one in 2018.
No, just pull a screen grab.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, yeah. I guess I am on camera at least once a week. Now that I think
you are on camera. Yeah. You know what I get? I remember I was in a crowd once talking food. I don't remember what it was all about, what event it was, and I always say, ask me a question, I'll answer anything. And I will, unless you ask me money questions in front of the whole world and stuff. So somebody said, how long have you been coloring your hair? And I said, I've never done that. And the guy went, oh, okay. And I got pissed. I go, what do you mean? Oh, okay. He goes, look at you. How old are you? Whatever I was there, 57, 50, whatever. I go, not everything happens at the same time on people.
Yeah.
And he went, oh, okay. And so now I'm arguing with this guy. And I don't know how to not argue. I don't know how to win the argument because, unless you did some swab or took a chunk of hair and dipped it in something and sent it to a lab to show there was no color other than natural color. My father didn't really start going gray until he was in his mid-60s. And I have it coming in now. Just not that much. You'd never see it here. But
yes, you're just getting very, very little bits.
Little bit, yes. But I'm complimenting you on your whole thing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I worked hard on this look today.
Welcome.
Yeah, well.
Do you think, let me ask you this question. Do you think this is the year that we might meet?
Well, let's see. I currently have zero business second time it happened tonight. Unbelievable. I currently have zero business that is bringing me out to the West Coast on the docket. However, the good news is, while 2020 is rapidly coming to a close, we have 11 and 75. What?
You just said 2020 is rapidly coming to a close?
Yes, 2020 is rapidly coming to a close. There is still 11 plus months left of the year. So I would say that there is at least a 50% chance that we will meet. And I would also say there is 100% of the 50%, not to go Bernie Sanders, that it would be me getting out to the West Coast versus you somehow fumbling into Cleveland. Where we would meet. Although, I have to tell you...
kidnap young women, that would be my first stop.
Well, that's what we do.
Apparently that's the place.
Yes, that's right.
You have come out, or you were going to come out for some event in Palm Springs, right?
Yeah, but that I think work got in the way with that a couple years ago. Now, that event has subsequently went the way of Elvis. So, it's not on the docket anymore. But, I mean... There are other things that are happening out there now. I have a few more connections, not not that I need any more connections other than just to come and see you, but a Sterling Ball is around you. A Sean
Walchef.
Sean Walchef is around you. So
I do think they're going to do their event differently this year. At least that's what I felt like they said at the end of last year.
I'm feeling pretty. I feel pretty confident.
Okay, let me ask you this question, just based on something you just said. Are barbecue events lessening, or are they on the rise?
Yes, to the former for sure, and especially where you're at, from a California or West Coast perspective. Well, I guess specifically in California, there's been a number of really great competitions that were years in the running that have subsequently died over the last handful of years. And
is it a lack of interest in the sport, in the method, in the style, what is it?
So there's two different pieces that are competing now. There's the competition barbecue thing that 3 years ago and farther back than that, Barbecue Pitmasters was on television. Before that, there were variations of Barbecue Pitmasters that were on television, all brainchilded by a guy by the name of John Marcus, who at one point was the executive producer of The Cosby Show, one of the most prolific rapers of our time. And Cosby, not John Marcus. And I think there was a golden era of competition barbecue because you were hearing about it on shows. So also the proliferation of internet and shows like mine talking about it. So there was a great beneficial storm that kind of hit that showcased this whole competition thing. And, you don't have to be a world-class athlete to be the best competition barbecue cook in the world. You can be pretty out of shape, but as long as you know what you're cooking and I
think you're supposed to be pretty out of shape.
Well, trust me, you can be, and you can do really good at it. So I think it lended itself to just everyday person. Plus, now you're seeing it on television. It makes it more accessible. You see it on the internet, blah, blah, blah. Now you're seeing a decline because with popularity, there seemed to be a thought of, okay, well, I have to buy this kind of meat, and I have to buy these kind of rubs, and I have to buy a 14 or 24 or 40-foot mobile home, and I have to have this kind of a trailer in order to... There was a keeping up with the Joneses mentality that I think became quite a hurdle for entry for a lot of people. Or you were mortgaging your house to get into the barbecue competition circuit, which pays zero money. I mean, 99% of these guys are pulling the red every year. It's their hobby. They're not making money at
it. But maybe there needs to be an event where people can just go pay. Years ago, we lived in Phoenix, and friends of ours put on this giant country music event. And there were, I don't know, say 30 food vendors there. And they figured out that everything that you could get from a food vendor, it wasn't get into the event and then everything was free. It was get into the event, and then you would buy tasting portions from these places. Everything was based on 50 cents or $1 or something, right? So you get a little bit of this for $1 or that for 50, whatever it was. But maybe there's a thing out there that showcases great barbecue. And you don't have 40 guys doing fucking brisket. Maybe you've got 4 guys doing brisket, 4 guys doing chicken and sausage and, whatever. And ribs that people go in and somehow they buy tickets and they taste. And
so you want a 4 meat category rib burn off is basically what you want, right?
Everything, but I think people like it.
But you want a concept of a rib burn off? Do you have those out there?
No. What is this?
So there used to be in Cleveland, and they still have a number of them, but right downtown at the Burke Lakefront Airport. Every summer, there was this Cleveland, the National Rib Burn Off. And there would be these teams.
Saying burn off?
Yeah, they call it burn off. So teams would show up. They had these huge spaces and tents. And the general public would pay a small admission fee to get in. And then you could go to Sam's Ribs, and then Greg's Ribs were lined up right next to it. Kelly's Ribs were lined up right next to me. And you could get, and the famous phrase was $1 a bone. And you get it, pay $1, and you get one of Sam's Ribs. You pay $1, you get one of my ribs, and you pay $1, you get one of Kelly's Ribs. And then at the end, or as you're walking out, you kind of drop a ticket into the bucket as, whose you like the best. And then there's a people's choice. There you go.
Maybe it doesn't have to be a competition.
Maybe but that's not really like a real competition where they're having awards. I think it's just for the people that are traveling the circuit to say, oh, okay, well, in Cleveland, Sam's Ribs won the day. Blah, blah, blah.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out a way to help propagate the barbecue world. I feel like when these events go away, it's coming out of the public zeitgeist or something. I don't know. It's not something that's now like people are now not hearing about it as much and maybe not doing it as much. And all the Traeger people of the world are doing a great job at keeping that stuff up there.
So here's the other side of that dichotomy that I had referenced. Backyard barbecue and grilling has never been more popular. Every year over the last 5 and 6 or 7 years, it is the most popular it has ever been year over year.
So that's the quandary that I find here. That events are. So what is it about events, the competitions that maybe people don't give a shit about, but they still care enough that backyard is as popular as ever?
Well, let's quickly go over this. If we're going to do a barbecue competition, we're going to be in. And let's assume we have all the stuff. Let's assume we are a competition team currently.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to a competition. So we're going to have to pay entry fee. We're going to have to go buy our meat. We have expense. We're in $1,000, $1,200, $1,500. I mean, if you're not winning, you're just spending money because you must really like it. Now, what about instead of that, Sam and I get together, we pool way less than $1,500. How about $300? And we throw a huge kick-ass party in your backyard in La Jolla or San Diego, or wherever the hell you're at. It's going to be super fun. We have these great cookers in the backyard. People are out. They're enjoying it. With the benefit of having that run of competition barbecue and the interest there, people have said, I want to know how to cook barbecue better. I want to know how to cook ribs better. Not get into the competition scene. They just want to cook better. But you know that because people want to cook your stuff. People are telling you, Sam, I want to cook better. It translates into the backyard. And grills and smokers and pellet cookers are going to see unrivaled success. The success that they have never seen this year as Weber is going to be bringing out their first pellet cooker. There's new lines of pellet cookers from other manufacturers, more accessories. The backyard will continue to dominate in 2020. There's no doubt about it.
So that's the thing. So maybe the shit needs to change, Maybe
it's changing whether, from a competition standpoint, whether you like it or not. Now, will it rebound and see the success that it had a number of years ago? Yet to be determined. But I don't think, and look, you've seen that where your show has changed and you've done things to tweak in order to get, same thing for my show where I might have been a little bit more competition based at first.
Gotcha.
There has been a noticeable progression towards the backyard with guests and subject matter and all this other stuff. So, it's funny.
How about a name change?
For who?
Instead of Barbecue Central, Backyard Barbecue Central Show.
Let's think on that. No. Why do I have to change my name? Oh, that's outrageous. That's my brand. Are you going to change the cooking guy?
Well, if suddenly I became enamored with baking, yes, I might.
Sam the baking guy?
It's never going to happen, by the way. I do not have that the patience, that sensibility, the detailed nature of cooking the baking requires.
Is there that much of a difference?
100%.
Really?
Cooking that I do is like horseshoes, cooking that I do is more like hand grenades. Close enough is generally good enough. tablespoon of kosher salt, half a tablespoon, tablespoon and a half, not going to make a difference.
Right.
Because the sum total of what I'm making is not this big. It's this. It's a casserole dish. It's a soup. It's a stock, whatever. But in baking, if you forget the 1 tablespoon of cornstarch or baking soda or baking,
yes,
whatever, shit won't rise or get firm or be fluffy or accept the next level of flour, bake whatever stuff has to go in. It's a science. Baking is a science.
Yeah.
Cooking is whatever.
All right, look, I got to go to bed because I got to get up and go to work tomorrow.
Okay.
So go subscribe to Sam's YouTube channel if you haven't. Go to the website, check out all the cool recipes, and make something this weekend. He wants you to. The Cooking Guy.
On the entire second hour.
You what?
You heard me.
You've never what?
Been on the entire second hour.
I
have.
Are you new to the show, Sam?
No, I'm usually like a half an hour. I feel like it's been 2.5 hours since we've been talking. And here's my last question. I just want to make sure. Do you take polls?
What does that mean?
Do you ever give people an A-B choice?
Sure, all the time. Choice close. That's what we call it in the sales game.
Okay, what do you call it?
Choice close.
Okay. I want to just make sure that people aren't bored. I feel like you and I have had like the kind of conversation.
Oh, I'm bored.
How can you hear her?
I was bored a half hour ago.
Okay.
Outrageous. All right, look here, lady. Get out of here.
This feels to me.
Wow, you're going to get it when you get off the air.
I know, it's awful. People don't know, but you and I talk maybe once a month, maybe twice every 2 or 3 months or something,
Sure.
right?
Right.
But we have a long conversation.
Right.
And this feels like those conversations when we're not looking at each other, we're just talking. I just want to make sure people aren't bored by this.
I mean, I think we're allowed a little level of indulgence every once in a while. This is more Joe Rogan.
I'll let you phrase it for your audience, but I would just be curious to know. I want to come back next month. I want to see your hair on the sides a year ago. And I want to know if people are bored by this nonsense or if it's okay. Because if they're bored by it, we're going to change it up. Right. And we're going to talk about competition barbecue.
Yeah, Brian Ashman already weighs in. He says he's not bored. I did see a guy, the Cooking Sam, is in here. He said he loves it when you're on the show.
Oh, so I do like too. I do like the Cooking Sam.
Smoking Joe's Pit Barbecue says, let's do more chit-chat. There you go.
It is chit-chat. It is.
Yeah. So
look, you and I are both Howard Stern fans.
Yes.
No question. And his best interviews, and he's a great interviewer, are ones that are the most comfortable.
Yes, conversational,
really
easy
you're just
stuff.
Listening in on a conversation. And I feel like that's what this has been. And I just don't want to, I want to make sure we don't bore people.
Sam likes Japanese mayo. I like Japanese women. That's said by the real Joey B. Look at that guy. What a perv. Thank you, Joey.
Didn't make him up at all.
John Solberg says, if we were bored, we wouldn't be here. We're still here listening. How about that? So
that's good. I appreciate
good positive reviews for the 5 people that are listening.
Okay. Well, look, I love you, man. I love your audience. Hoping that this is the year we get to shake hands.
All right. We will. I will do my best. That's all I can promise.
Not just virtually over this stuff.
That's right. TheCookingGuy.com is his website. Go to YouTube, search The Cooking Guy, and sub if you haven't already. And in the meantime, you will see him in the Month for Lovers, which is the first Tuesday of February. Sam, until then, I bid you adieu.
And I say goodnight to everybody at the Backyard Barbecue Central Show.
There he is. Look at this guy. Yeah, okay, smartass. Go leave the show and go get yelled by your wife. She was not having it. I get it. At some point, it becomes a little long in the tooth if you're not on the show. Trust me, if she was on the show, she'd be like, yeah, let's go. Can't wait. Can't wait. But she was listening to the show, and she was probably trying to watch one of the last Christmas shows on Hallmark. And you got Sam jabbering in the background and some guy from Cleveland. I get it. All the way back in the first hour, Malcolm Reed was on the show. Killer Hogs Barbecue, and howtobbqright.com, his website. Sam the Cooking Guy in the second hour, thecookingguy.com. Check him out on YouTube as well. I'm allowing the Gene remarks now. Next week, I will not be allowing.
Andrew, you are not.
I will not be allowing Gene remarks. There will be bans. There will be bans. Big show lined up for you next week. Laura Paul from Smithfield will be in. We will be announcing the Smithfield grant recipients, so get in for that. That's 10:14. Meathead from AmazingRibs.com in on the first hour as normal the second Tuesday. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Great to be back with you here live for the first show in 2020. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.